Hello, everybody. So my name is Oumar Diabate, and I come from Mali. I studied veterinary medicine, and I was responsible for inspecting the authorization for the sale of vegetables, of fruit and vegetables. And that meant I had to analyze the fruits and the vegetables to know what quantity of nitrates and nitrites were contained in these fruits. So I realized at that moment there was a problem, because all the local farmers who bought their merchandise to sell, sometimes they weren't authorized to be able to sell their goods, so there was a problem. So now, when I went back to Mali, I set up as a vet. And in Mali, as in many African countries, we spend about 90% of our budget on food, as opposed to Europe, where it's 10 to 12%. So it's essential that people eat. So I thought, I want to be a vet, but at the same time, what I'm going to do is I want to cultivate my own food. But I already had the idea of what had at the back of my mind, what I'd learnt about in Moscow, and I thought I want to cultivate things in a different way. So I tried. I tried to farm in such a way that I used healthier methods of farming and not toxins. So I mentioned that I had met Pierre Arabier, and he mentioned a book to me, and I realized that this book spoke about what I'd already been thinking about. So I tried to contact Pierre Arabi, and I met him in Mali, and we spoke about his foundation, the Earth and Humanism. We met, and so I decided I was going to create a farm. So in Mali, it's very difficult to farm. There are all sorts of problems. There's climate problems. It doesn't rain a lot. It doesn't rain, and then the rain doesn't fall evenly. So every time you want to farm, you've got to use the right methods. So if you don't use the right methods, you'll fail. So with fertilizers and tractors, one would hope to be able to counter this. I was already prepared with my techniques in agriculture. So when we talk about the ground and the soils, we have very, very poor quality soils. And when I wanted to start working on my own land, the people on the spot said, we don't have any land that's suitable, but we can't farm on it. We can only raise animals. So we can sell you this. And this is how this land was sold. So it was practically dead ground. So when I bought this land, what I wanted to do is I wanted to practice agroecology in order to make it more fertile. So now, these techniques, what they consist of is preparing compost for the ground, because the ground was practically dead and wouldn't be able to cultivate plants. And we're currently trying to bring in different types of soil in order to diversify it. And we have installed different cultures. And on this farm, we have a lot of fruits and vegetables. We have vegetables like lettuce, like cabbage, spinach, tomato, aubergine, onion, parsnips, carrot. And we can grow all sorts of things. What we also have, we have fruit trees like oranges, we can grow guava trees, papaya and what have you. And we're also trying to raise herds in order to earn more money, because it's by having these herds we can, as a vet, I am trying to raise European breeds as well as local breeds in order to have better milk production. So we've got a manure which enables us to produce a good quality compost. And so that we can improve the quality of the ground, we are obliged to manage agroecology and the techniques involved. So, for example, how to limit the degradation of the soil and do the best to counter the bad effects of the sun and the wind, etc. So the techniques that were used so that the plants could be adequately nourished. And as you can see, these are the little forms of digues. It was important as well, and dams, and it was important as well that we didn't use pesticides. Pesticides are very complicated to use because they involve people who use pesticides and don't know the dosages can actually die eventually, and they don't realize they can be dangerous for their health. And the damage is such that it can create problems. And unfortunately, some people don't know how to use them. They tend to think, oh, well, my soil hasn't been adequately cleansed and there's still damage. And they tend to double the dosages. And that's why we have a lot of deaths as a result. So we said, what should we do? We've got plants. We've got plants that are available. Plants which are not attacked by insects. And you can see these as you walk around in the fields. So we recognized these plants and took samples of these plants and decided that what we could do is we could actually spread them on the land. And so we took the neem plant, for example, and other species that are grown locally. And once we make puree of them and we grind them up, we can grind them, and we can then spread them on the land, and it means we can chase away insects. And in that way, we've been able to have gardens that are healthier and are less attacked by insects. So with all of these good results, we started having production. What are we going to do with production? We had a large amount of lettuce grown, cabbage, and lots of vegetables and fruit at the same time. Eggs from chickens, lots of milk. And I then decided I would come into contact with Daniel Villon, who said there were lots of different ways in which I was able to sell this produce. And there's direct methods of direct selling. In France, they're called AMAPs. So we introduced this system in Mali. First of all, they started to work. So when direct sales started to take off, as you can see, we have baskets like this, which were offered to the consumer. Consumers, for example, consumers could choose what they want. from the gardens, and when we harvest these gardens, every Tuesday and every Saturday, we deliver the produce. And this is how we managed to start selling our products, which was produced on our farms. And as a result of this, we said, perhaps we should be able to replicate this, because we've got a serious problem within our country. And we noticed that the local farmers were giving away their land. And the government would say, if you don't sell your land, multinationals will come and use it for something else. And they set off to sell their land. But in reality, the farmers couldn't live off the produce from the land. So we increased the price of the land, and they started selling their land. And they started to become candidates for immigration. And these are the farmers who you will see and who've unfortunately been dying crossing the oceans. 25% of the farmers have been selling their land because they weren't able to produce adequately from them and live off the land. So we said, is it perhaps better to help them and help the farmers to return to the land? And that's why we started to train them to help them find finance, to equip themselves, and to use the land better. So at the beginning of 2008, we started doing this, and I succeeded because we've trained several farmers, and we've trained at least about 100. So little by little, with the means that we have got, we're starting to train farmers so that they can benefit from their own land. And these training schemes are done wherever. It can be done locally, underneath a tree, in their homes. The essential thing is to show people who live off the land how they can improve the methods of living off the land. First of all, they come and see us and they don't believe what we're saying, and then some people tend to think that we're magicians. So it's very simple. We try to show them how easy it is and the different techniques that can be used. And then they start to begin autonomous, and they can live off their own land and adopt the systems. So thank you very much for listening to me.